Is that rejoice? I be back. Hello, hello. Can everyone hear me? Please tell me I've got this fixed. Hello, hello. I be back. That that is enough Nazis. Methinks. Go away, Nazis. I be here. Please, someone shout out in the comments if you can hear. Frame drop. Stupid bastard, frame drops. Nope. Fuck off. That's enough Nazis for tonight. Hello. Hello, hello. Please tell me you can hear me. I will wait. Ooh. New video. Hi, Ash. Do I? Curious. Motherfucker. Hmm. That's not. I need to bring it. Oh, fuck. Hello. Is that better? I had my microphone at the back of my desk, which was about 3 feet away from me. Please tell me I sound nice and clear now. Hopefully. Hi. Crazy Scottish woman here. Not quite. Curious. Give me a second. Let me go. Guys. Oh, for Christ's sake, I'm still alive. Oops. Is that better? Huh. Oh, I like that. Oh, fucking hell. No, 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 no. Ah, actual microphone. Hmm. Give me a second.
Uh, the webcam that I used to use, which was a webcam, a ring light, and a mic all in one. I don't know what I've actually done with it. It's in a box somewhere. I think it's in the bedroom. Hopefully that's sorts victory. Ha ha. Hi, hi. I knew I'd get there. Hello. Glad to be loud and clear. No more fascist scum. At least not ones that are dead now. And been dead for the last sort of 70, 60 odd years. Most of them 80 odd years now. Thanks, Brody. You know what? This one deserves to. Okay, this one's fun. Yeah. Sucks, doesn't it? But we are here. I am here. Just give me a katana. Now, Katie, don't be naughty. Fuck it, give me an epi. Launch later. Damn it, wrong one. I'll watch them later, fuck it. Yeah, I know, they got taken down. Playlists. View playlist?
No, it was, I had a hard time saying, like, just walking away from a pregnant woman asking for help.
It's the thing of, if you're in the woods in the middle of the night and you hear a little 6-year-old off in the woods going, somebody please help me. Don't help them. That's not the right tone for that. You know it's not true. So when a pregnant woman says, my husband, I think his name's Kevin, book it. Everyone needs to run faster.
No, it was, I had a hard time saying, like, just walking away from a pregnant woman asking for help.
It's the
To tell you the truth, I'd probably be more lethal with a bow stick. Oh God, I can't remember what it was. One of the turtles had a bow staff. No, like it's basically a hardened wooden, not hard. It was a certain type of hardwood that grows in China and Southeast Asia and stuff, and they basically used it as basically was a blunt instrument. I was actually quite good with the bow staff, or any staff really. I keep on saying that if need be, I can use my actual walking stick. I'm not stable. Obviously, everyone knows that. Inner imbalance, joint issues, blah blah blah. But I think I could still actually use my walking stick to educate people. That, and I know some jiu-jitsu and karate moves as well. Hell manges if you come up against me. Case in point, someone tried to rob me on Byers Road many years ago now, and I broke the bastard's nose. It was a good fucking thing. There was over £300 in my purse. Yeah. I nearly got close to getting first Dan in kendo. I stopped doing kendo and fencing when I was 23. So yeah, I shit you know, I have actually used a katana. Yes, badass Katie. Seriously, hell manges if you come up against me, really, you don't know. Oh, do you? Sweet. It's been a while since I've actually talked about it. Seriously, this fucking Egypt. Yeah. I only told my mum. My lovely sweetie, my nibbling, my niece. They were basically still in nappies at this point when this happened. I told my mum and I said to her, do not tell the girls, my two sisters. They didn't need to know about it, obviously. But many years later, when my middle sister went to do self-defense classes, they were using a video as an example of how to defend yourself if someone's trying to rob you or nick something off of you. And they put this video on. It was like one of those pull-down plasma screens, essentially, in a leisure centre. And they showed the footage of me actually defending myself on Byers Road. And my sister, who was at this class, said, what the fuck? That's my older sister. And she went to the instructor and said, where the fuck is that from? Said, the police gave that to us with the consent of that person you can see up on the screen. That's my older sister, by the way. Is it? Oh, nice one. I didn't know about this. That was the first time she had learned about this actual incident, which was a decade later. What the fuck? So that was... that kind of shocked her. How the hell did she manage to do that? Well, we do all sorts of crazy stuff. So they got my permission, obviously, because I was the main one, plus the stupid bastard trying to rob me. Plus the consent of the shop I was in, which was in Iceland at the time. Well, it's still, the Iceland is still there on Byers Road. It was mental when she... 10 minutes after the class had finished, I got a very angry call from her saying, why the fuck did you not tell us? I just told Mum. And I said to her specifically not to tell either you or my younger sister. I said, why not? What would you have done with that information? You would have just called me up and started yelling at me, and which she was doing at the time. It is really quite a fascinating story. Super Hubby loves that one. Yeah. Her wife, and at that point, still her girlfriend, not married yet at that point. Hang on, they were getting married the year later. A year after. So I done this decade later. Middle sister found out about that incident, and a year later they got married. My now sister-in-law came to me and said, why didn't you even tell me? Do you want to know the worst of it? Both of our mums have talked about this. So my now sister-in-law's mum, who lives in Northern Ireland, said thank you. She actually went to Police Scotland and said, can I get that video to give to someone who actually does these courses over here in Northern Ireland? Yes, of course. So my sisters-in-laws in Ballycastle have actually seen the video as well. Yeah. Oh, both my sisters knew I'd done kendo and fencing, so They didn't know about that one incident. That was it. Everything else they know about. I just didn't want to. Really didn't need to know. They knew. I said to them, said yes, some Egypt tried to rob me, and that was it. When I came out of Iceland. All right, but you didn't get his. He didn't get your bag or your purse. Nah. Good. They didn't know about the actual situation that had happened. Yeah. Oh, he got sentenced to 4.5 years for that. He'd been robbing, I'll say grannies, so people, elderly women, just nicking their purses off, their handbags off of them, and scarpering it. Just put in Byres Road, Glasgow, and you'll see how long this is, and just, or Iceland, Byres Road, Glasgow, and you'll see the Iceland is right next to Hillhead subway. That section of Byres Road is really quite good. There's a couple of good restaurants, a cracking Indian restaurant that does really good jalfrezi, actually. It's been a while since I've been to it. That section's really quite good. And it's easy because people have been robbed coming out of Hillhead Station as well over the years, and out of that Iceland as well. And across a path, and next on the corner is a curry house, an Indian, then a Bank of Scotland. The RBS is closer to the top of Byres Road, so is the Bank of Scotland. So people coming out of the bank as well has happened a few times. Is moo. No, it doesn't happen too much now. Thank God for that, which is a good thing. Right. Let us go. Where are you, my lovely Kernow comrade? Demo. There it's there. Oh no, it's changed. Go to my subscriptions. It's basically the way everything's been laid out in that section of it. There's lots of things slightly to the top, closer to Great Western Road and the Botanic Gardens, and further down as well towards the Dumbarton Road. It's quite a long hill essentially down. So start with the Botanic Gardens, cross Great Western Road, and down Byres Road. There's different little sections where you can get caught up. People can do this to try to rob you and things like that. There is a fuck ton of CCTV on Byres Road because that's the start of like the West End, more affluent people, people of that nature. So the housing around that area is more expensive. They're larger, they're Georgian, they're Victorian houses, blah blah blah. So there's a lot more CCTV footage and a little bit more discreet police presence in case things like this start happening again. Hello President Sunday. If you haven't already, go and follow President Sunday. He be Canadian, he be based. He is rather good at theory and history and basically drama stuff. Where be you? Where be you? Where be you? Will you be there? Demo.
Right, so on the evening of the 10th of August 2025, in the shattered streets surrounding Gaza's Al-Shifa hospital, a group of journalists were at work doing what journalists are meant to do in a war zone, documenting, bearing witness and relaying truth from the heart of devastation. Among them was, of course, Al Jazeera's celebrated Gaza correspondent, Anas al-Sharif. His career had been defined by his fearless reporting from the ground, often broadcasting live amid falling bombs, determined to ensure the world could see the reality of Israel's military campaign, or its genocide. In the hours before the attack, though, a UK-contracted US spy plane operated by the American defence firm Sierra Nevada Corporation had been in Gaza's skies, part of an ongoing intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance ISR programme run by the UK Ministry of Defence. This fact was reported by several outlets, which linked the aircraft's presence to a vast surveillance operation the UK had maintained over Gaza since December 2023. The question is not whether the UK was capable of collecting detailed intelligence on that day. It plainly was. The question is whether the UK possesses data that could help establish...
Yes, they do. They do have that intelligence as far as I'm concerned. They do. Come at me, Keir. Seriously. John Healey's the Defence Secretary, by the way, so... Yes. They have that information. And obviously they have shared it with the Israeli intelligence organisations and the Israeli government. I'm saying yes, they do have this information. Will it get released to us? No. National security and all that other bollocks. We are but pros. We do not deserve to know the information, obviously. But yes, I'm saying they do have this information and they just won't release it. If it's not going to affect Britain's security, it should be released. More proof. Helping facilitate a genocide. That's the way I am looking at this information. Super Happy does agree with me that this shouldn't be happening, and it is a genocide. He's going on the more religious aspect of it. Oh, okay. Yes. Go and pick up our lovely Cappy, our lovely darling. Of course. Rejoice, comrades. Shanna Cranky Pants is going to pick up the love of her life, Capricorn. Exactly, Brodie. Yes, critical to our own national security, obviously. The problem is there is British forces stationed in Akrotiri on Cyprus. But that all comes under the large umbrella of national security. There might be British pilots in those planes doing those flights, but we're not allowed to know because that might compromise our global standings and all any other bollocks you can hear getting reported on in the press. Delightful, isn't it? Complicit in a genocide. It just fucking ends me. Oh my god. No, you haven't. General, or... Are you on my Discord, Malky? Rejoice, comrades. Malky is here. Rejoice, comrades! Jacqueline's here! Hi, Jacqueline. Hello, darling. Welcome! Hi. Stalwart of my left eye and no justice. Hi, Jacqueline. Navarra as well, aren't you? I mostly see you in Helena's and Lefty. Oh! Thank you, Shanna, darling. Malky, the Discord. feel free to put the petition. General, pick whatever channel you think is appropriate, but yes, I will spread it far and wide. If it reaches 100,000 signatures, well, they may be digital, but it's still people actually saying, yes, I will sign this petition. They have to debate it. They've already done one, but they've slighted it. They put it at a fucking inconvenient time. Funny that, the Speaker facilitating what the government wants. Never been known. Bollocks. Give me a second, would you, comrades? I will do the link. Give me a second, Malky. Where is my channel? Channel. Naughty woman. Invite. Copy link. Cool. There we go. Copy the link. Minimize your second. Go to my... Oh! I'll still post it for anyone else. Do 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 do. Go. Ta-da! Discord! It says numpty women over there because numpty and women. Hello, I am woman. Hear me roar. My pronouns are she, her. I am bisexual. I am a Marxist. I am disabled. I haven't quite figured out how to put everyone's pronouns yet. So if you feel okay, just post your pronouns in the chat if you want. There's... Yes, Jim's told me. I am a member now. So, I assume Curtis will know about it. I would assume so. I shouldn't assume because it makes an asset of you and me. But yeah, we know how proactive Jim is. Obviously, he'd be legendary at doing his organising and things. Damn sight better than I can manage at times. I do my organising online, obviously. But I am here to do hard graft as well, as long as it doesn't actually physically involve me actually doing shit in IRL. Don't get me wrong, I would be able to do some stuff.
It's the truth about the killing of those journalists, and if so, why won't they admit it? Right, so to understand the stakes of this story, it's worth grasping the scale and nature of the UK's surveillance operations over Gaza. Far from occasional or symbolic, these flights have been systematic, sustained and intensive. According to an investigation by Classified UK, between December 2023 and March of 2025, the UK flew no fewer than 518 surveillance missions from RAF Akrotiri in Cyprus. These missions...
518? What the actual fuck? Give me a second, I'm going to work something out here. They are using a minimum of 40 to 60 pilots going on a 4 rotation basis. So that's 4 pilots for every cycle, which is usually between 6 and 8 or 8 and 12 hour cycles. So doing the actual flying and things like that. I asked Super Hubby about a month ago, and he said it's based on the rule of 4 for flights of any description. If it's actual physical flying and doing stuff like the Berlin airlift, that was happened. There was 18 pilots flying out every 2 hours, but that obviously was Berlin airlift, and that used lots of other Western European nations as well to do that. Blah, blah. But going on to surveillance flights, it's usually on the rotation of 4, so that's 4 pilots used during a 24-hour period. It might have changed. I go on what Super Hubby has told me and what my partner's, well, he was cavalry, he was in tanks and stuff, but he talked to airmen and things while he was over in Iraq and Afghanistan. So I'm going on the rule 4. It might have changed, it might be 2. Mind you, the area that they're actually gathering intelligence from is small. Literally quite small in the scheme of things. Don't get me wrong, this is global in its geopolitical reach and everything, but on actual physical landscape and the areas they're surveilling, it's kind of small. I will put the terrible reasoning to one side for a second. To the environmental part of it, probably quite a lot, because obviously aviation fuel, still a fossil fuel, obviously, and obviously everything has an exhaust because you're burning something to do those flights, so it's still contributing. Flights are incredibly polluting, especially to air quality for whatever part of the world they're flying in. Hence we have to stop or change over global flying patterns, especially passenger flights and all that fucking nonsense. But on a purely military and security based reasons, it's still incredibly polluting. And to bring back the actual reason why they're doing this, completely destructive, supporting a genocide, fuck off, implicating the British military and the British state into this. Obviously, on their own volition, they're actually ordering these flights to actually happen, because orders have to be laid out, they have to be written, they have to be signed and things of that nature. Obviously, pros like us won't find out until long after we're dead, so our descendants, our children, our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren might be able to get it released after we've all shuffled off this mortal coil, really. I want them released now. I want them to fucking stop doing this. Chances. The geopolitical impact of what they're actually doing, actually aiding, and the bombing that's actually happening on the Gaza Strip, and the surveillance flights that are happening over the West Bank to help them settle Judea and Samaria. Not good. Hate it with a fucking passion. Will I be listened? I am but one lowly leftist woman living in Glasgow. No matter how fucking loud I get, my government won't fucking hear me. Our voices are louder together for obvious reasons, hence organising and educating people. First test next year, Holyrood and Senate elections. Yeah, correct, Jacqueline. Legally here in Britain, they have to be recorded. They can seal them. If they are not writing them, they are damned in my eyes, and they'll be damned in history. We're already going to get damned for fucking Operation Legacy. Oh my god. I will show that one again. because everyone needs to know what the British government or the British state are like. Don't get me wrong, governments change political stripe at every general election. Obviously, we've seen it in my lifetime. 79, 83, 87, 92, 97, 2000, 205, 210, 215, 17, 19, 24. 12 times. Ha ha! I will show you after this. Do you not know about Operation Legacy, Jacqueline? Oh, prepare yourself. It's from Downstream, so it will be Anne Bassani you'll be seeing, but everyone needs to know about Operation Legacy, and as part of my dissertation, I had to go up against this because lots of the documentation I was looking for got destroyed because the British state are fucking bastards. I'll interject during that video as well to tell you how it affected me and what I was doing. Do you not know about Operation Legacy either, Brodie? Oh my god, I'm going to be educating people tonight. Fucking amazing. Carry on, Demo.
Initially relied on RAF Shadow R1 aircraft platforms designed for sophisticated multi-intelligence gathering, including electro-optical and infrared imagery, synthetic aperture radar and communications intercepts. They were built to collect an awful lot of data in real time. By the end of July of this year, though, the Shadow fleet had apparently been stretched thin, though. This is what the government told us, which is rather strange given they hadn't lost any of these planes. A cynic might think that because this story had gained a bit of traction, the UK needed to distance itself somewhat from allegations of spying for Israel, and therefore Starmer simply privatised the flights, as I covered in another video the other day. To maintain tempo, the Ministry of Defence outsourced part of the operation to Sierra Nevada Corporation as a result. This shift, since confirmed even in the mainstream media now, showed that these contracted flights were continuing UK task surveillance work. Only days into the outsourcing arrangement, though, the programme suffered a devastating and revealing slip. On the 28th of July, one of the contractor's aircraft mistakenly left its transponder on whilst over Gaza, allowing civilian flight trackers to watch its path as it circled directly over Khan Yunis.
8-hour cycle, by the way, for that. So that is one pilot in one plane doing these flights. Oh, God. Northern... Right, here we go. Northern Gaza. Gaza Strip here. West Bank. Jordan, Egypt, this is the Sinai, this is the flight plan, so parts of Western Gaza, the West Bank and Central, I can't remember if that's Judea or Samaria, so this is the West Bank up here, this is Jordan, that's the Gaza Strip here, that's northern Palestine. So up here we've got like Lebanon, Syria up here. This is the Sinai, this is Egypt. So these are basically seeing where they can actually settle. Legally, internationally, yes it does, Jacqueline. Yes, they're mercenaries. Even though they are paid by the British state, they're still classed as mercenaries legally, so these pilots might need to fuck it. I will lay my cards out. Should be in The Hague as well. And unfortunately, following orders is not an excuse. People have already been done for it, saying, I'm not doing that, that is illegal, do me. Sort it, and they've already done troops for saying fuck off. And that was during Iraq and Afghanistan. I am not doing this. That is illegal. That is not sanctioned under legal, international legal systems. So no, go away, fuck off, not doing it. These are mercenaries, even though they're paid by the British state. They're paid by British taxpayers. Delightful! Ah, fucking stop it! So yes, how do I know that? I know mercenaries. I will never tell you who they are. But as far as I'm concerned, they are mercenaries, and they are doing illegal surveillance. Am I being loud enough? David Lammy, John Healey and Keir Starmer. This is illegal.
For an extended period of time. For several hours, the war's invisible watchers became visible. On civilian flight tracking screens around the world, the thin black line of the aircraft's orbit etched a tight, unbroken loop over Khan Yunis, a picture of quiet, patient surveillance. It was a glimpse of how closely Gaza's every movement is mapped before the bombs fall. This was clear evidence the UK-tasked aircraft were conducting sustained loitering over densely populated areas in Gaza. It was a window into the reality of UK-tasked intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance in Gaza. These aircraft were not making fleeting passes or staying safely offshore. They were orbiting over specific neighbourhoods, employing collection patterns indistinguishable from those used in support of targeting. The implications in light of what happened with Anas al-Sharif and his colleagues were clear, therefore. If such an aircraft had been operating over Gaza City on the 10th and 11th of August, it would almost certainly have gathered detailed imagery, tracked movements and intercepted communications in the vicinity of Al-Shifa Hospital. This isn't conspiracy theorism either. There's already precedent for this in the December 2024 Nuseirat scandal case. Again, according to Declassified UK, whose reporting on these spy flights has been second to none, a US-operated surveillance aircraft under UK tasking flew over the refugee camp of Nuseirat only hours before it was struck by Israeli forces. In both that case and the events of the 10th of August, the pattern is the same. UK-linked ISR in the immediate run-up to an Israeli attack, followed by questions about whether that intelligence contributed to targeting, and whether it could now serve as vital evidence. Anas al-Sharif's work was emblematic of why war correspondents are both valued and vulnerable. In a war where the narrative battlefield is almost as contested as the physical one, journalists who capture images and testimony that contradict official accounts pose a particular threat to the state seeking to control the story. Al-Sharif had been reporting live amid bombardments, interviewing survivors and challenging Israeli officialdom simply by showing the human cost of the genocide. His death, alongside 5 colleagues, struck at the heart of the international press corps in Gaza.
No, they weren't.
Israel's response was typical, though. These journalists were Hamas. No evidence accompanied the claim, but it's what they always do to justify their claims, isn't it? Over 230 journalists have been killed by Israel in Gaza. Were they all really Hamas, or were they just doing their job in a war zone? Israel has gone above and beyond to blind the eyes of the world too. Well, yesterday a couple of new...
Brody, are you in mod view? If you are in mod view, can you do a poll? I'll do it, it's okay. Give me a second. Oh, there we go. System manager. Pull. Pull. It's okay, I'll get it. Ta-da! There we go. It will come out. There we go. Oh, Brody, let me know the result. 1, 2. Go demo.
Developments arose. The Netherlands formally requested that Israel substantiate its allegations, stating that it is up to the Israeli authorities to provide proof. And this is more than a diplomatic nicety. It was an assertion of a principle that democratic states often trumpet abroad. If you claim someone as a combatant, you really must be prepared to prove it. But Israel isn't used to being treated like everybody else, is it? That same day, though, as the Cradle have reported on the words of Israeli investigative journalist Yuval Abraham from the previous day, it has to be said, that Israel's military intelligence directorate has now established a special unit called the Legitimization Unit. It's a bit obvious and a bit on the nose, but it's what Israel have a habit of doing, isn't it? Whose mission was not to investigate incidents impartially, but to justify them, including strikes that killed journalists. Abraham has put out an excellent, albeit lengthy, thread on Twitter in relation to this unit, but an excerpt relating specifically to journalists reads, "A primary mission of the legitimization cell was to find Gazan journalists who could be portrayed in the media as Hamas operatives in disguise. They actively went through journalists and searched. Entire days were invested in this matter and they found nothing. Why look for a journalist in disguise? As I understand it, because it provides media legitimization for the existing killing of journalists in general. After all, it's enough to present one hospital as a Hamas headquarters and you can paint the destruction of the entire healthcare system in the same light. One failed shot where Hamas hit civilians and then, who knows, maybe all civilian deaths are on Hamas. Sowing doubt as a method to justify atrocities, identifying a journalist as an operative in disguise, whitewashes the killing of all other journalists." This unit's role is literally to construct post hoc legal and narrative defences for attacks that might otherwise be condemned as violations of international law. The implications of such a thing are chilling. When Israel produces evidence about the killing of al-Sharif, if it produces any at all, of course, it may come from a body created to defend the strike's legitimacy, not to scrutinise it honestly. The killing of al-Sharif and his colleagues did not go unchallenged in legal forums either, though. Also, on the 12th of August, the Hind Rajab Foundation and the Palestinian Centre for Human Rights filed a joint complaint with the ICC, alleging that the strike constituted a war crime and demanding accountability for that. The ICC prosecutor is empowered to request cooperation from states parties, including the provision of evidence such as surveillance data. As a state party to the Rome Statute, the UK is obliged under Article 86 to cooperate fully with the court, while Article 72 permits refusal if disclosure would prejudice national security. This is a discretionary provision, but try selling that one to the British public. Hamas, having never struck UK soil after all, and all these spy flights for Israel having been conducted, who can genuinely ever believe this would be a national security issue to us here in the UK on the other side of the world? Well, we can put the thumbscrews on a bit harder than just that as it happens. The UK could, if it wished, provide redacted mission summaries, share only relevant segments, or allow ICC investigators to review the data in secure conditions, if it wanted to be a willing participant. It could even withhold material deemed sensitive while still affirming whether its aircraft were present and whether data even exists. A blanket refusal, though, would not be mandated by law. It would be a political decision. And the significance of this discretion cannot be overstated here. If the ICC requests UK data from the 10th to the 11th of August and is rebuffed, the refusal will become part of the public record as a case of non-cooperation in a war crimes investigation involving the killing of journalists. That alone would be reputationally damaging for a state that likes to style itself as a champion of press freedom, and I say that very, very loosely at this point in time, as the UK mulls banning even Wikipedia now under its Online Safety Act, it apparently now being a threat to kids too somehow. That is the justification the Starmer regime keep using to clamp down on online content after all, isn't it? Anyway, the UK's reluctance to share surveillance data in the wake of civilian or humanitarian worker deaths in Gaza is not theoretical either. It again is rooted in precedent, in an established record of refusal that we can point to already as it happens. According to Middle East Eye, cast your mind back to April of last year, a certain Israeli airstrike killed 7 World Central Kitchen aid workers. Among them were 3 British nationals. At the time, multiple press reports indicated that the UK possessed relevant intelligence and surveillance and reconnaissance ISR footage and mission logs from flights over Gaza in the hours before the attack. Families of the victims formally requested access to that information,
They did.
hoping it might shed light on whether Israel had knowingly
as I'm
targeted
concerned.
clearly marked humanitarian vehicles. The government refused to release that material, citing operational security and the need to protect intelligence sources and methods. The refusal struck many observers as a glaring double standard. In cases involving alleged war crimes by adversaries such as Russia, the UK has been willing, even eager, to release satellite imagery into
Bollocks. Utter bollocks. They can release them. They can. British citizens have died. He does, doesn't he, Jacqueline? He does. What the fuck? Obviously banning Wikipedia, completely fucking daft. It gets used as a research tool for millions of people. Millions. Does this government care? No, they don't. They fucking don't. British citizens have died. World Central Kitchen. Gazan Britain, British people who live there. Case in point, if you want more information on that, ask Layla Moran. She actually has family there. I don't know if she still has her family. She did have she did have family there. Well, it should. It should. It's damning. Fuck them. They have lost all legitimacy in my eyes. So fuck them. No, they shouldn't exist. Don't get me wrong, I do not want Man Frog and his merry band of fucking lunatics in charge either. I don't. Again, I'm a communist. I don't like any of them. But yeah, this should fucking end them. Hopefully, they'll get tested next year up here in the Holyrood elections. I am campaigning for that to actually happen. Here in Glasgow, and up in my home city of Perth, and across Scotland. And I will be here for any English and Welsh comrades if they want any input from me, obviously. Educating people about how to vote, what to look out for, and what they're saying in your local elections. She smiles gleefully. Or tries to cackle like a witch. They shouldn't exist. They shouldn't. David Lammy, John Healy, and Keir Starmer and Morgan McSweeney can all fuck off. I went and checked, by the way, because he didn't actually have what is called a rod licence or a landing licence to actually fish whatever river he was... £250 paid to whatever local council it is. So yes, £250 to David Lammy. Pocket change, really? Base pay, 93,758, I believe. So 93,000. But he is the Foreign Secretary. Correct. I ain't going to be kissing him. Seriously, I really don't want him to come back up to Scotland. Or if he does. Nigel. Hello. Is this a £2,500? Wrong river. Oh God, I checked for Chequers, not where the Foreign Secretary's country getaway is. I can't remember its name. It was in the story I was reading yesterday on stream. Fuck. $2,500 is still fucking pocket change to him anyway.
Intercepted communications and other intelligence to support its public case. But when the accused is Israel, close political and military ally, the instinct is to withhold rather than to disclose instead. And this selective transparency erodes the UK's credibility in international forums such as the United Nations or the Organisation for Security and Cooperation in Europe, where it frequently positions itself as a defender of journalists, of humanitarian law and accountability. In the Al-Sharif case, this prior behaviour offers a preview of what may come. Should the International Criminal Court request surveillance data from the night of the 10th to the 11th of August 2025, the precedent set in the World Central Kitchen incident suggests that London's first instinct will be to refuse. Such a refusal would be legally permissible under the Rome Statute's national security exemption. Again, they've got to sell that excuse to us because politically it would amount to shielding Israel from independent scrutiny, and a lot of us would likely say as much as well, especially following the World Central Kitchen incident. The potential evidentiary value of UK collected ISR on the 10th to the 11th of August would be huge though. UK test flights over Gaza typically collect high-resolution imagery, thermal signatures and communications intercepts, often in real time. In the context of the Al-Sharif killing, such data could reveal to journalists' positions, the presence or absence of any armed actors in their vicinity, and possibly even intercepts of Israeli communications concerning the strike. And this matters because, as the Cradle reported through Yuval Abraham's investigation, Israel's internal processes for investigating such incidents is compromised from the outset. This special unit within Israel's Military Intelligence Directorate was created not to impartially determine what happened, but to construct legal and narrative justifications for attacks that they know will...
Good evening, Kent. Thank you, Jacqueline. I can't remember what part of this green and pleasant land you are in. You don't need to dox yourself, obviously. You can give your constituency or your major conurbation, like city or town, whatever. Again, you don't need to, obviously. This mad woman, Glasgow. Easy. Biggest city in Scotland. Best city in Scotland. Come at me, Edinburgh people. Seriously. I love Edinburgh. Edinburgh is gorgeous. But Glasgow's better. Plus Glasgow's not as expensive as Edinburgh. Obviously no one's more expensive than London. Funny that. I have never been to London. You never know, I might actually make it down there at some point before I croak it. If I ever make it down to London, I will tell you what it is like. Super Hubby's been to London. He didn't like it. He'd been down there 10 years before I even fucking met him, so... Hello! Nice one. Praise be Zara Sultana. She is awesome. She be young. Well, younger than me at least. Bad Brody. Bad. Like I say, I love Edinburgh, but god damn it, it's fucking expensive. The trams work. The traffic in Edinburgh isn't as bad. Obviously, the only thing you really have to dodge are tourists. And pay more to go to like a Chinese or something, or a restaurant, or to the theatre. Things of that nature. Obviously, they've still got the same shops and stuff and the same price point for like buying a cardie, or a dress, or a pair of shoes, or a pair of boots if you like. but for entertainment purposes, it is more expensive. I get it, capital of Scotland, blah blah blah, and all that other nonsense. I'm with you on that, but I do love Glasgow. Glasgow's better for music. That is the hill I will die on. First one, the NHS. Second one, Glasgow. Best for gigs. Fuck it. That has already been pointed out to me by my sister. She used to work for Megabus, and because of her job, she got free travel to go down and set up the ticket offices in different locations within London. Essentially, he said, "Fuck this." The bus and local buses, not to forget about the trains for a second. She called it shite. That needs fixed. Edinburgh does have the Fringe. You are correct. I have been to the Fringe. It is amazing. Depends on who you go to see, obviously. But yes, I do love the Fringe. Lots and lots of people, when Super Hubby took me there about 8 years ago, he didn't really like it. He's used to the prices, obviously, and stuff. He's been to Edinburgh many times. But when we've went over to the Fringe before in the past, too many people, he doesn't really like crowds. I understand, really. We have the Comedy Festival, world renowned. But yeah. Oh no, each city has its own specialities and stuff. Edinburgh's brilliant for stage plays and musicals and things of that nature. I get that, I do. We're good for actual gigs, proper bands, actual bands, and lots of people coming from all over the world. It is amazing. But for like plays and stuff, yeah. Oh, don't get it. I might slight Edinburgh and Dundee and things like that, but yes. Oh, I love Edinburgh. More expensive, of course, but yeah, I do love it. But Glasgow's still the best. It does actually. The next nearest one is London. Then I want to say Berlin. I might be wrong. Then there's a few in the Balkans and Poland. I don't quite know. The top three are Glasgow, London, and either Berlin or Rome. I think it might be Berlin. But yeah, Glasgow has the most in the UK. Come at us, London. Seriously. Haha. We have two of the largest parks in Western Europe. I've been to both of them. They're amazing. If you can avoid the nets. Yeah, well, we set the three. Technically, two are classed as historic parks. They've been here since one of them's Georgian, two of them Victorian, and the fourth one's Edwardian. One was set up just as Victoria was just about to croak it, essentially, and the other three were all set up. One of them was set up just when she was born in the late 1830s, early 1840s, and the other two were set up in like the mid to late 1700s. Good history. Lots of individualistic Scottish movement started in Aberdeen. The Granite City. Obviously, the actual city centre itself is absolutely gorgeous. It is grey and it is marbled, obviously because of the granite. It looks absolutely gorgeous. Fairly good for like folk and rock and that kind of music. Fairly decent public transport actually up in Aberdeen. The Aberdonian is a breed apart. The main language is classed as Doric Scots, so it's a very thick and damn near indecipherable sort of local Scottish dialect. Me and my mum can understand it. My uncle speaks in Doric. So Doric heavy Scots, definitely Pictish and Norse inspired language, and turn of phrases and things of that nature. We can understand it for reasons. If you need any decoding for what people are saying in Aberdeen, just come to me, Brodie. Trust me. I've talked to many Aberdonians. Dundonian's a breed in itself as well. A lot of the ones on the east coast of Scotland, especially the ones on the North Sea coast, they're Doric, they're more Norse inspired. And the closer you get to like Perth and to Fife, it goes into Pictish. Don't get me, there's Picts still up there. So our own clans and stuff have shaped the way we actually talk. Because I'm classed as a Lowlander, I sound too English to some Scots. Still Scottish, thanks. Oh, you'll hear that, trust me, Brodie, you will. Yes. For on the ground, or actual lived experience of talking to people from like the Northern Isles and the east coast of Scotland, you know where to find me.
Will attract international condemnation. When Israel releases evidence in such cases, it is evidence crafted for advocacy, not for truth-finding. Independent third-party surveillance is therefore essential. If the UK's data corroborates Israel's account, releasing it would strengthen the legitimacy of Israel's position and potentially put the matter to rest, of course. If it contradicts Israel's claims, though, it would be crucial for ensuring that the perpetrators are held to account. Without it, the ICC will be left with two irreconcilable narratives, one from the victims' colleagues and families, and another from the military that killed them. The stance taken by the Netherlands has already set a clear benchmark for responsible state conduct. According to NL Times, the Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs formally requested that Israel provide evidence to substantiate its claim that the journalists killed were affiliated with Hamas. The Dutch position is very simple and yet completely principled. If a state alleges that someone killed in a military strike was a combatant, it bears the burden of proof. The Netherlands made this request without possessing its own independent surveillance data from Gaza, though, of course. The UK, by contrast, may well have such data, and yet has not made a comparable demand. The contrast is, of course, very telling. It suggests that while some European states are prepared to challenge Israel's assertions publicly, others prefer to avoid confrontation, even when armed with potentially decisive evidence. Diplomatically, this disparity risks creating fault lines amongst allies. It signals that the UK applies its stated commitment to press freedom and accountability selectively, undermining trust amongst partners and credibility with the global public, not least the British public. The consequences of the UK refusing to provide ISR data in this case would reverberate on several levels. Legally, a refusal could result in the ICC publicly listing the UK as a non-cooperative state in a war crimes investigation. That designation would carry massive reputational costs and could be seized upon by critics of the ICC who argue that it is incapable of holding powerful states and their allies to account, damaging the ICC itself. Diplomatically, refusal would deepen the gap between the UK and EU states like the Netherlands, which have shown a willingness to press Israel on sensitive issues. It could also fuel tension within multilateral bodies concerned with press freedom and the protection of journalists in conflict zones. Politically, it would provide ammunition to domestic opposition parties, human rights organisations, and investigative journalists, of course, all of whom could point to the refusal as evidence of absolute hypocrisy, and they'd be absolutely right to do so.
Correct,
the UK's
yes.
record in the World Central Kitchen case, where it withheld data that might have aided an investigation into the killing of British aid workers, would be invoked as part of a broader narrative that the government shields Israel from accountability even over the killing of British citizens. Morally, the implications are even starker. Withholding data in this case would mean allowing Israel's justification, crafted by a unit explicitly designed to defend its actions, to stand unchallenged. It would be a decision to prioritise political expediency over truth and alliance management over justice.
Correct, Jacqueline. Correct. Will we be told? Take a guess. We have every right to know this, by the way. I don't care what the fucking British government says. We need to know about this stuff. Will they tell us? I am doubtful, and I will say, will they bollocks? Like I keep on saying, come at me, Keir Starmer, John Healey, and David Lammy. We are never going to be told this stuff. Technically, internal security is up to Yvette Cooper, because she is Home Secretary. Will we be told this? Again, doubtful. So I am saying, they will not fucking tell us. I can't see it happening in my lifetime. But you never know, things change. Things happen. Whistleblowers do exist. So you never know, we might find out. They will never voluntarily give up this information, ever. It has been proven. They've went to court about it. The Nigerians have won, by the way, and the Rwandans. Things have been released from the pressure of the courts against our actual British government. Hopefully, we will find out in our lifetimes. You do not need to say, Jacqueline, at all. I am very open about what age I am. I don't care. Essentially. I am 46 years old. Rejoice. Ha ha ha. I'm a fucking shambling mess, of course. But hopefully within my lifetime, we will all find out. Correct, Brodie, and yes, Jacqueline. We really do have the right to know this stuff. Hopefully, I live in hope to a certain extent, let's put it that way. I am a realist after all, and deeply cynical because reasons. You what now? You are but a baby. Oh dear God. We've got 3 different generations covered here. Mental. Gen Xer. Younger Gen Xer, obviously. Oh my God, you're right on the cusp. Jacqueline, older Gen Xer. Dear God, Brodie. We have a Zoomer. We have a Zoomer comrade. Hello, Brodie. You are but a child. Again, take what I say with a pinch of salt. I do try to give you the best information possible, obviously. I am here to help. But again, do your own research. I will give you lots of stories about Scotland and how great this country is, obviously, because it is the best, in my opinion.
The UK is not without options if it wishes to balance national security with transparency and legal accountability, though.
They won't do that,
Demo.
Demo.
Way through here. In fact, these are not just sterile mechanisms buried in policy papers either. They are lifelines for truth-finding in the face of state-engineered silence. When journalists are killed, such evidence can be the thin line between justice and erasure. According to experts cited in The National, there are well-established mechanisms for sharing sensitive surveillance data without compromising operational integrity. One approach would be to allow ICC investigators to review the raw data in a secure UK facility without taking copies. This method has been used in other high-stakes international investigations to satisfy evidentiary needs while protecting classified capabilities. Another option would be to provide redacted mission summaries confirming whether UK-tasked aircraft were present, what sensors were operational, and what general observations were made. Even a minimal disclosure of this kind would establish whether the UK holds relevant data, countering the perception of outright stonewalling. A third possibility would be to brief the Intelligence and Security Committee of Parliament in closed session, enabling democratic oversight without public release of sensitive details. This would at least ensure that an independent domestic body had examined the evidence and could hold the government to account if it were found to be obstructing justice. These pathways demonstrate that the decision to withhold is not an inevitable one. It would be a political choice, one that can be reversed if the government determines that the reputational and moral costs of silence outweigh the perceived security benefits. So it's Starmer's move. Just how in hoc to Israel is he? His actions will very much tell us. The Netherlands has set a standard for demanding proof from Israel, though. The ICC has been petitioned. Israel's military justification unit is likely already shaping its narrative. If the UK holds independent surveillance data that could help establish the truth about the killing of Anas al-Sharif and his colleagues, they have a choice before them: cooperate with international justice or obstruct it. Here lies the most bitter irony, though. A state that lectures the world on protecting journalists now withholds the very evidence that could avenge them. Britain's own rhetoric has become its own indictment. The slogans about a free press ring hollow when the press lies buried and the truth is kept in a locked cabinet in Whitehall instead. Silence in this case is an active choice to allow a manufactured narrative to dominate the historical record. When journalists die for telling the truth, the greater crime is to bury the truth with them. In the genocide of Gaza, the war on truth has become just as lethal. We know whose side Starmer is on in this conflict, how deeply entrenched in that he wishes to make himself, how complicit. Well, the choice is very much his. For more on the killing of Anas al-Sharif and the consequences of losing those journalists in Gaza, whose work we are all reliant on to see what is really going on there, the real reason why Israel's war on journalism stands as historic for all the wrong reasons, check out this video recommendation here as your suggested next watch. Please do also hit like, share and subscribe if you haven't done so already, so as to ensure you don't miss out on all new daily content, as well as spreading the word and helping to support the channel at the very same time, which is enormously appreciated. Holding power to account for ordinary working class people. I'll hopefully catch you on the next feed. Cheers, folks.
Thank you, Demo. Brilliant, as always. Okay. Time. No. Pause. Oh, there's a... Oh, God, fuck off. Give me Operation Legacy. I'm trying to educate the masses. The hell's going on here? Sorry about this, comrades. I will be back with you in a second. Come on.
erase our history.
There is a cancer in our education establishment.
Attempting to change the history of this.
Give me a second.
To mob rule, the tumbrils, to the guillotine.
This is about our cultural heritage being under threat.
These are our great British.
Thank you.
Want to rewrite our national stories. We really are at risk of a kind of know-nothing cancel culture iconoclasm. And so we Conservatives will defend our history.
Correct, Jacqueline. Correct. Bit of a dichotomy, really, isn't it? We will need to ask the British state about that one. Will they tell us the truth? Doubtful. Will they give us the bare minimum? Also doubtful. The legal definition of combatants is contested, even in the ICJ and the ICC, so... I could ask Marcus, he would know. Who else would I can ask? A person who's related to me. That person might be able to tell me, but their area of profession isn't international law, it's Scottish law. But there's combatant and there is non-combatant, and it does get a bit fuzzy because legal doctrine isn't set in stone, unfortunately. It should be by now. Seriously, it should be. Legal systems, they be fucked.
And cultural inheritance. To edit it now is as dishonest as a celebrity trying furtively to change his entry in Wikipedia. And it's a betrayal of our children's education.
Britain's Conservatives are obsessed with the idea that we should never erase our history.
There is a cancer in our education establishment.
Attempting to change the history of this country, attempting to airbrush out the people they don't like from the history of this country.
The idea that modern-day Oxford University is in any way racist or oppressive is nonsense.
Why do you stay in this country? If you take such offence when you see Nelson's column, if you take such offence when you hear Winston Churchill's name,
She lives here. She has contributed to this country. Nick Ferrari, you are a wanker. Thank you. Oh my God. Yeah, Kieran. Kieran may be able to help. Getting Kieran onto the stream. That would be interesting. Fuck it. I can DM him on Discord. Or just talk to him in Kev or Helena's chat. Oh, that might be fun. Me and Kieran. What this idiot says, this one here, that we are currently... Lawrence, seriously, just fuck off.
Feels sort of like, with just one Sikh soldier there, you start going, oh, did the Sikh soldiers serve with the English soldiers? I'm not a historian, so I don't know.
This whining isn't new, but after a statue-toppling spree last year, starting with Edward Colston's statue in Bristol, the whinging has reached a fever pitch.
This kind of behaviour is a step on the road that leads to the to mob rule, the tumbrils, to the guillotine.
This is about our cultural heritage being under threat.
These are our great British values, so what, we're going to strip away our great British values?
These people, be clear, want to destroy our country.
In Britain, this has caused outrage on the right. Sure, these were awful people, they insinuate, though they never actually say that, but they were products of a different time. We shouldn't be erasing the past and bringing down statues and forgetting our history. Well, that just isn't British. But what if forgetting history was a central part of British identity? What if erasing the historical record wasn't just encouraged, but...
He was born and brought up in Edinburgh. He was history and comparative religions teacher at a private Catholic all-girls school in Edinburgh. And he said, "Fuck this! I don't like the church interfering with the way I actually teach my students." He called his students my girls. He was amazing, and he escaped. He moved from Edinburgh up to Perth. And he came in 2 years before I started secondary school. I loved this man. He was a Marxist and a teacher. He could have quite though. And he gave me lots of information when I was a teenager, from the age of like 12 to like 16. Oh, not again. He does. This was, am I back? Am I back?
Empire lasting 1,000 years.
Pause. Hello, hello. God damn it. What now? Right, no fuck. Please tell me I'm back. Fuck it, industry. I was going to finish up after this video anyway. Fuck it, end the stream, then bring it back. I am end the stream, but I will be back because this video needs